Chapter 13 Pretzel. Griffin's mood darkened over the course of lunch, and he stalked outside for recess, hands buried in his pockets. Hey guys, hi Griff! The voice, too loud, too high pitched, could mean only one person: David Hallenbeck. The kid who could not, or would not, take a hint. Hallenbeck often appeared on the fringes of the group, like a mosquito hovering around a campfire, close, but careful not to get burned. He was the butt of jokes, the fool, the kid with the kick me sign taped to his back. No one seemed to like him, but by virtue of pure persistence, Hallenbeck was tolerated. His presence offered a form of entertainment value, comic relief from the routine of endless school days. He was the fly that got swatted, a spider without legs, and in that sense, the boys really didn't mind Hallenbeck's uninvited appearances. Usually. Not today, Hallenbeck, Cody said. Go away. Unfazed, Hallenbeck peered at Griffin. What happened to your eye, Griff, huh? Hallenbeck, Jesus Christ, Cody hissed. Go away. This type of scene had lately become a frequent occurrence. It was as if David Hallenbeck suffered from amnesia. No matter what happened, he kept coming back for more, desperate for acceptance. The truth was, he had nowhere else to go. So no matter how hard he got shoved away, Hallenbeck always seemed to dust himself off and bounce back. It was a disastrous strategy for making friends. The tension was increasing, but Hallenbeck couldn't, or wouldn't, grasp it. It started the way it usually did. The boys made a few one-liners at Hallenbeck's expense. Some name-calling, nasty stuff. Hallenbeck just sort of nodded and chortled, absorbing the insults, his soft belly quivering under his shirt. I didn't see you on the bus today, Hallenbeck, Cody said. Oh, that's right. Your mommy picks you up these days, doesn't she? Isn't that special? Not always, Hallenbeck answered. I walk sometimes. We miss you on the bus, Hallenbeck, Drew P. complained. We don't have anywhere to shoot our spitballs. We're getting rusty. The boys glanced to Griffin for approval. It was as if Eric realized this was all a performance for Griffin's benefit. He was the ultimate audience. Every move, every word intended for his eyes and ears. The group was gathered in a vibrant, pulsing, huddled mass. From where they stood, several noon aides had a good view of them. Hallenbeck gamely laughed along as the name-calling continued. He smiled as if he were in on the joke. But slowly, you could see his eyes narrow and the corners of his mouth turn down. He was rattled, and they could see it. Just walk away, Hallenbeck, Eric thought. But Hallenbeck stood there, still looking to Griffin for help, for some sign of assistance. He had no idea how to tell them to quit it. Finally, in a high-pitched, sing-songy voice, Hallenbeck crowed, Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Yes, he actually said it. And no, it didn't help. Cody laughed. Maybe I should get some sticks and stones, huh? What do you think, Hallenbeck? That a good idea? Should I pick up a rock? Get lost, Hallenbeck, Drew P. urged. He roughly spun Hallenbeck around, gave him a push. We don't want you here. Hey, leave him alone. They turned to stare at Griffin, who had said it. He raised his chin, gesturing toward the building. Two noonades stood together, their eyes upon them. Come on, David, Griffin called to Hallenbeck. Let's take a walk over to the big tree. Hallenbeck hesitated. He looked back to the building. The tree was in the opposite direction, out of the line of sight. I don't know. You want to hang out, don't you? Griffin asked. He smiled, put an arm around Hallenbeck's shoulder. We're all going to hang out by the tree. You are welcome to come. Or not. It's up to you. And at that, Griffin started walking to the tree. He didn't look back to see if anyone else was coming, because he already knew. They'd all follow. Cody, Will, Drew, Eric, every single one of them. Even Hallenbeck. The name of the game, Griffin announced once they arrived at the big oak, is called Pretzel. Have you ever played it, David? Hallenbeck brought a hand to the back of his neck and rubbed it. He appeared doubtful. He shook his head once. No. There's nothing wrong with that, Griffin answered. He was upbeat now, energized, happy. It's like wrestling. Here, let me show you. The rest of the boys gathered in a sort of ring, forming a barricade that sealed Hallenbeck off from the school building. The Noonades wouldn't be able to see much. In a swift motion, Griffin gripped Hallenbeck's wrist and yanked hard. Hallenbeck fumbled into Griffin, who shouldered him in the chest. Wham! The blow stunned him. Hallenbeck's head snapped back. Griffin stepped with his left leg and planted it behind the slow-moving Hallenbeck. With a compact shove, Griffin pushed Hallenbeck to the ground, where he landed hard on his upper back. Hey, get up, man! Griffin chuckled, hauling the bewildered boy up by his shirt. Griffin roughly slapped the dirt off Hallenbeck, all smiles and laughter. Good times, Cody murmured, licking his lips. Good times. Now, Griffin applied pressure on Hallenbeck's wrist, twisting it, bending the arm around his back. So, Griffin said, lecturing to the group, can anyone in class please tell me why this game is called pretzel? Cody's hand shot into the air. I know. Griffin was on his tiptoes now, an anxious look swimming in his eyes. The back of his shirt was dirt-stained. He groaned softly. Did you say something, David? Griffin asked. With another move, he had the boy in a new painful entanglement. This is called the chicken wing. Isn't that a funny name, David? Ow, that hurts. What? Are you talking to me? My arm, you're hurting me. Eric could hear the new urgency in Hallenbeck's voice, and something else in it, too, a growing terror. Yet Eric did not move, did not raise a hand to help. Griff, a voice suddenly warned. Diaz is coming. In an instant, Griffin pushed Hallenbeck into the group, turned, and locked arms with Drew P. in an animated wrestling match. The rest of the boys laughed and let out whoops of encouragement, cheering the spectacle of their phony match. What's going on here? Asked Mrs. Diaz. The Ultimate Fighting Championships, Cody replied. It was on TV last night. Hallenbeck, he paused, corrected himself. I mean, David, and some of the guys were showing us. You know the playground rules, Mrs. Diaz stated. She wasn't buying a word of it and could scarcely conceal her distaste for Cody. We're sorry, Mrs. Diaz, Griffin said, stepping forward. We were fooling around and maybe got too rough. Boys will be boys, Drew P. clucked. The noon aide nodded doubtfully. She scanned the group. David, she asked, are you all right? All eyes turned to David Hallenbeck. He held his right elbow in his left hand, cradled close to his body. The boy looked like a wounded, moist baby bird. Just playing, he said, looking at the grass. Goofing around. Tears welled in his eyes. He bravely tried to blink them away. The recess bell sounded 3 times. Oh, man, I can't be late for Mr. Foy. He's giving a test today. The gang of boys headed back to the building. Eric found himself walking beside Griffin. Look back, Griffin whispered. What do you see? Eric glanced back at the great old oak. Mrs. Diaz was talking with David, heads close together. She touched his arm. He pulled it away. Eric shook his head. That was kind of rough, don't you think? Hallenbeck's fine, Griffin snapped. Besides, he won't say much. He knows better than that. Eric measured his words carefully. It just seemed unnecessary. Really? Is that what you think, Eric? Griffin said, his voice drenched with sarcasm. Because I didn't do anything wrong. What about you? Ever wonder, what did I do? Because all I remember is you standing there with a big smile on your face. I wasn't smiling. Griffin dismissed him with a wave of his hand. Shut up, Eric, or maybe next time it will be you.